Welcome back to SecoCyber. If you have ever tried to install a new operating system, run a live Linux environment, or use a security testing tool like Kali Linux, you already know the pain. You plug in your USB drive, you format it, you burn one single image onto it, and then the next time you need a different system, you have to erase everything and start over. What if I told you there is a tool that completely eliminates that problem? A tool that lets you 30 different operating system images on a single USB drive and choose between them every time you boot your computer without ever formatting that drive again. Before we continue, I want to take just a moment to say something important. If you are finding value in this content, if you are learning something new today, please take 3 seconds and hit that like button. It sounds small, but it genuinely makes a massive difference for this channel. The algorithm treats liked videos very differently, and every single like helps SecoCyber reach more students, more learners, and more people who want to break into cybersecurity. And if you truly want to support what we do here, there is a donation link in the description. Even the smallest contribution helps us buy equipment, test new tools, and keep making free content for this community. Thank you sincerely. Now, back to Ventoy. What is Ventoy? So what exactly is Ventoy? Ventoy is a free and open source tool that turns any USB drive into a multi-boot device. The keyword here is multi-boot, all selectable from a clean boot menu every time you start your machine. Since then, it has grown into one of the most widely used bootable USB tools in the Linux and cybersecurity communities. Here is the really clever part about how it works. When you install Ventoy onto a USB drive, it creates two separate partitions on that drive. The first partition is small and contains the Ventoy bootloader itself, which is the code that runs when your computer starts from the USB drive. The second partition is large and it is formatted as a normal storage drive. You simply copy your operating system image files, which are called ISO files, directly onto that second partition, just like you would copy any regular file. When you boot from the drive, Ventoy automatically detects all the ISO files present and shows them in a clean selection menu. You pick the one you want, and it boots directly. No special software needed on the host computer. No burning, no formatting, just copy, boot, and choose. And they absolutely have their place. But they all share one fundamental limitation. They are designed to put one single operating system image onto a USB drive at a time. Every time you want to change what is on the drive, you must overwrite everything and start from scratch. With Ventoy, you write the bootloader once, and after that, adding or removing operating systems is as simple as copying or deleting files in a folder. This is especially powerful in the cybersecurity world. Think about it. You might need Kali Linux for penetration testing. You might need Tails OS for anonymous browsing. You might need a Windows installation image for recovery work. You might need Parrot Security for a different set of tools. With Ventoy, all of those can live on the same USB drive simultaneously, ready to go whenever you need them. Ventoy also supports both legacy BIOS systems and modern UEFI systems, which means it works on nearly every computer you will encounter. It also supports secure boot on most configurations. The bottom line is this. If you work in IT, cybersecurity, or system administration, Ventoy is not just a convenience. It is a professional tool that belongs in your toolkit. Before we jump into the installation process, let us quickly go over what you will need. First, you need a USB drive. Any USB drive will work, but I recommend using one that is at least 32 gigabytes. The reason is simple. Operating system image files are large. A Windows 11 image alone is around 5 to 6 gigabytes. A Kali Linux image is around 4 gigabytes. If you want to carry multiple systems with you, more space is always better. Important note: the installation process will format your USB drive. That means all existing data on it will be erased. Make sure you back up anything important before we proceed. The installation steps are slightly different on each platform, but the end result is identical. In this tutorial, we will walk through both. You can find it at ventoy.net. Always download from the official website to make sure you are getting a safe, verified copy. And finally, you need the ISO files for whatever operating systems you want to use. You can download those separately from the official websites of each operating system. Downloading and installing Ventoy. Now, let us walk through the installation step by step. Start by going to ventoy.net in your web browser. You will see the download section on the home page. Look for the latest release and download the version that matches your operating system. If you are on Windows, download the zip file labeled Windows. If you are on Linux, download the file ending in .tar.gz. Open the extracted folder and look for a file called ventoy2 disk.exe. Double-click it to launch the application. Make absolutely sure you are selecting the correct drive. Double-check the drive letter and the storage size to confirm it is your USB drive and not an internal hard drive or another storage device. Once you have confirmed the correct drive, click the Install button. Ventoy will ask you to confirm twice because it is about to erase the drive. Confirm both prompts and wait for the process to complete. On Linux, the process is done through the terminal. Open a terminal in the extracted folder and run the shell script with the name of your USB device. The command follows the format bash ventoy2 disk.esh followed by the install flag and then the device path, which will look something like /dev/sdb. Run it with sudo for the necessary permissions. The small partition is the Ventoy boot partition. The large partition, which you will see as a normal drive in your file manager, is where you will put your ISO files. MID video call to action. Like, subscribe, donate. Quick pause right here. If you are following along and this tutorial is making sense, now is the perfect moment to hit that like button. I know it feels like a tiny thing, but to us here at SecoCyber, every single like is meaningful. It tells the platform that this content is worth showing to more people. And it helps this channel grow and keep producing free, high-quality cybersecurity education. If you want to go one step further, check out the donation link in the description below. Even a small amount genuinely keeps this channel running. Thank you. Now let us finish setting up Ventoy. ADDISO files to Ventoy. Now that Ventoy is installed on your USB drive, adding operating systems is almost embarrassingly simple. Open your file manager. On Windows, open File Explorer. On Linux, open your file manager of choice. You should see the large Ventoy partition listed as a removable drive. Open it. Now, simply copy your ISO files into this partition. That is it. You can create folders to keep things organized if you want. Ventoy will scan all folders and subfolders automatically when it boots. You can name the files however you like. The important thing is that they end with the .iso file extension. For example, you might copy in a file called Kali Linux 2024.iso and a file called win11_23h2.iso and a file called Ubuntu 2204.iso all into the same drive at the same time. Ventoy will detect and list all of them automatically when you boot. When you want to remove an operating system, just delete the ISO file from the drive. When you want to add a new one, just copy it over. No reinstallation, no reformatting, no extra steps required. Booting from Ventoy. Now, let us talk about actually using the drive to boot a system. Start by shutting the Augie 2DR system. Plug in the Ventoy USB drive and power the machine back on. As the computer starts up, you need to access the boot menu. The key to press depends on your computer manufacturer and motherboard. Common keys include F12, F2, F10, delete, or escape. You may see a brief message on screen as the computer starts that tells you which key to press. If you are not sure, a quick web search for your computer model followed by the words boot menu key will give you the answer. In the boot menu, select your USB drive. The computer will then load the Ventoy bootloader. Use the arrow keys on your keyboard to navigate between them. When you have highlighted the one you want to boot, press Enter. Ventoy will then load that operating system directly from the ISO file. You will experience it exactly as if you had burned that image to a dedicated USB drive. It is fully functional, fully bootable, and works the same way. One thing to note: on some computers with UEFI firmware and Secure Boot enabled, You may see a Ventoy verification screen on your first boot. Follow the on-screen prompts to enroll the Ventoy certificate. You only need to do this once. After that, Ventoy will boot without any interruption. PRO, tips, and advanced usage. Before we wrap up, I want to share a few tips that will make your experience with Ventoy even smoother. First, keep your Ventoy installation updated. New versions of Ventoy regularly add support for more ISO file formats and fix compatibility issues. You can update Ventoy on a drive without losing any of the ISO files stored on it. Simply run the Ventoy installer again and choose the update option instead of install. Booting a live operating system from a USB drive can be slow on older USB 2 hardware. A USB 3 drive will make the experience noticeably faster and more responsive. Third, Ventoy supports a plugin system for advanced users. You can configure things like custom boot parameters, password protection for specific entries, and even auto-install scripts. If you are interested in those features, the official Ventoy documentation on their website covers them in detail. And fourth, always download your ISO files from the official websites of the operating systems you are using. Avoid third-party mirror sites or torrents from unknown sources. Verifying the SHA-256 checksum of your downloaded ISO file against the one published on the official site is a simple but important security habit. Outro and final call to action. And that is everything you need to know to get started with Ventoy. From installation to adding operating systems to booting your systems like a professional, you now have a complete foundation. Ventoy is one of those tools that once you start using it, you will wonder how you ever worked without it. If you found this tutorial helpful, please leave a like. It takes 1 second and it means the world to this channel. Subscribe so you do not miss our upcoming videos on Kali Linux, network security fundamentals, and hands-on ethical hacking labs. And if you want to support SecoCyber directly, the donation link is in the description below. Every contribution, no matter how small, goes directly back into creating more free content for this community. Stay curious, stay ethical, and we will see you in the next one.